Ritual Beasts have been a bit of a pet project I've had over the last couple of years. I've played them and messed around with them back when they were meta, but less so as of now because the deck isn't as good. But just recently we got 3 Ritual Beasts Ulti back from the Forbidden Unlimited list, which does help with the consistency and adds a couple of new combos that the deck originally used to have but had lost. And so with that and some new support in the form of Wind Witches and Wind the Wind Charmer, the deck can actually do some pretty nutty things in today's format. You might be noticing the new playmat and the new sleeves, of course. I am newly affiliated with Imperium Duelist, so you can use my code to help save 10% off your next order if you choose to restock your sleeves, pick up some new dice, some stickers to decorate your binders, the new deck box, as well as their new binder, which is a white page binder with 12 slots, which is pretty nice. And of course, TCG player ink, etc., all the good stuff. Now, Ritual Beasts have a really cool mechanic. It reminds me a bit about Cosmos in a sense where you have the pilots and the ships, whereas in this you kind of have the tamers and the familiars in which you they tame. They're all wind types, so the deck has some pretty cool synergy with some specific trap cards like Gozen Match. I'm not playing Gozen Match in here. You could play it in a more control-oriented build. This is more aggro, so you want to kind of OTK your opponent the following turn, set up some really strong hand trap plays, because we do play the strongest hand trap in the entire game, which now just got a little bit better because Call by the Graves at 1. And back to the stuff, yeah, you have your tamers, you have your familiars, and I actually play an interesting amount of them, and I've actually cut some from the build altogether. To start with the tamers, we have 3 Ritual Beast Tamer Elder, 1 Ritual Beast Lara, 1 Zephyr Pilica, 1 Win, and 1 Winda. You might firstly notice this card's played at like 3 copies when it comes to the control builds, but as for the rest of them, Tamer acts as a normal summon that still works even if it's hit by an effect veiler or hit by an infinite impermanence. Lara, when normal summoned, revives a Ritual Beast from the grave. Zephyr Pilica is the same thing as Lara, but it has 1500 defense, so you can search it off of Win. Only downside to this card is that because it's a Pendulum monster, when this card is sent to Link summon the Link monster, you have to bring it to the extra deck. Win's the same as Lara, but special summons from the Banish Zone. You can actually play multiples of this because almost all of your stuff is going to inevitably be banished. Win has 1800 defense plus 1600 attack, which is a pretty strong combination. Her main beneficiary is that she counts both as a tamer plus a Ritual Beast. If she crashes into anything by you doing something or your opponent, you can summon any Ritual Beast monster from extra deck or your main deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can even summon the Link monster or the ultimate fusion monster, you just don't get the cool effect. It's also level 4, so you can use this to go into your Xyz plays. For the familiars, 3 Ritual Beasts Ulti 3 Spiritual Beasts Rampengu, and only 2 Spiritual Beasts Apelio. The reason why I chose this specific lineup and not, let's say, Petalfin is because I wanted to maximize the strongest Spiritual Beasts. Petalfin doesn't really do anything, however, you open up Apelio, you can still banish something and boost the attack to 2300, and that's a lot better than Petalfin, which you kind of have to normal summon an attack position. You also want to send this off of Rampengu, and if you open up a copy, you're no longer able to send it. This card's a Gold Sarcophagus and Legs. This card can Foolish Burial a Ritual Beast monster, then banish a fusion with the same type as that monster. Now, because you have Ulti Kanahawk at 3, you can banish this to Foolish one of your Kanahawks, which allows you to open up a 3 search combo, provided you have something like Dimensional Shifter or how that spell card's name is? Yeah, Dimensional Fissure or Dimensional Shifter up on the field. The new sleeves, by the way, work like magic. So for the supporting engines, 3 Wind Witch Ice Spell, that summons Glass Spell, which in turn searches your Snow Bell. The goal of this engine is to special summon Crystal Wing. The only thing it locks you out of is using your Link monster, since it's not a level 5 or higher Wind monster. But other than that, you can still search a lot of your trap cards to destroy a bunch of things. For the last monsters in the deck, 3 Wind, the Wind Channeler. This card searches your entire deck, all of your Wind Witches, all of your Ritual Beasts. It makes your 2-card combos a lot more consistent, such as Elder plus Kanahawk or Elder plus Rampengu, because you run 6 Elders, you run 9 of the other copies, plus you can search your Wind Witch stuff. Free summons, you can discard this by any means. It does not send itself to the graveyard, so it works under Dimensional Shifter, which is the next card in the deck. This is by far the best hand trap in the game because it stops almost every single deck except for maybe... It stops every single deck. Discards itself as long as you have no cards in your graveyard, and any card sent to the graveyard this turn plus the following turn does get banished. So during your first turn, if you open this, you can activate it and then discard wind, search your stuff, and go about your usual plays. It's a really strong card. Last monsters in the deck is 3 Gammas plus Driver. Shifter only works if you have no cards in the graveyard. And the Wind Witches only work if you control no monsters. Additionally, if you activate Dimensional Shifter, you can't activate monsters that send themselves to the graveyard for cost, so that eliminates a lot of the hand traps. So Gamma is actually one of the best options to choose because it banishes itself when it leaves the field. For spells, there's only 2. We have the Emergency Teleport, which is a Rhoda, but better, and Dimensional Fissure, which acts as a 4th copy of D-Shifter. If your opponent doesn't have any spell and trap card removal, it's a pretty powerful card that can ultimately win games sometimes. For traps, 3 impermanents, you can activate multiple of these per turn. 3 Ritual Beast Steeds, 2 Ritual Beast Ambush, and 1 copy of Imperial Order. This is the reversed holo. Goes from left to right instead of right to left. Ritual Beast Steeds have easily searchable. I might showcase the combo at the end of this deck profile that you can do with Dimensional Shifter, which locks your opponents out of anything being sent to the graveyard while having 3 searches. So Steeds can destroy any monster on the field, non-targeting destruction up to the number of Ritual Beast cards you control. Ambush can target Ritual Beast monsters, 1 Spiritual Beast, 1 Tamer, among your banished plus your graveyard and special summons them both in defense position. And in order, because we only run 2 spell cards, is the prime choice to play in this particular build, just for say. For the pretty stuff, 3 Spiritual Beast Altikana searches everything by banishing 2 Ritual Beast cards from your graveyard. Of course, with all their tag out effects, you would target 2 Ritual Beast cards. One of them you want to send, one you want to summon, and then chain its effect to tag out, targeting one of the cards you wanted to summon plus an additional card. And you only need to send 1 copy of it for you to search the card. So you're able to loop this a couple of times, only 2 or 3 times per turn, until you run out of resources, unless maybe, for example, you play grass, looks greener, and get every single target into the graveyard. Supporting monsters, 2 Apelio, and 1 Ulti Petalfin. Despite not playing a copy to dump this with, it's still a good card to end on in case you ultimately really break hard, just because it has 2,800 defense and your opponent cannot destroy it by card effects. As for Apelio, while it does stop all effects being activated during the battle phase, it does stop all the attack boosted gains from your actual Apelios plus your link monsters. Last fusion in the deck is an Ulti-Guy Apelio. You rarely summon this using its regular summoning mechanics. You usually summon this off win, or you dump it with your Pengus. 2 third double summon, 1 Gravity Controller, 1 Borlo Dragon for the link monsters. Pretty decent cards. Just being able to banish stuff from your graveyard to get an additional normal summon makes Lara plus Zeph from Pelika a whole lot better. Gravity Controller, because you have so many fusion monsters, you can easily tag it out to remove cards that are troublesome. And Borlo Dragon does the same as Gravity Controller, but works better with Ulti Kim Valkyls because you can easily summon this, summon Win, revive, make a link 4. For synchros, 1 Wind Pegasus, 1 Clear Wing, 1 Crystal Wing. This card's really good for destroying spell and trap cards. This deals with monsters, and Crystal Wing deals with monsters. It becomes undestroyable by your opponent's card effects, and Wind Pegasus at Ignister can actually have a protection effect in the graveyard. You can banish it to spin a card back that your opponent controls. The card in the deck is 1 copy of Lightning Chidori. You run a lot of level 4 1 type monsters. You could run Castell, you could run Tornado Dragon, but because Wind does lock you in to only 1 monster effects for the rest of this turn, it's a really good target to have just in case you want to summon out 1 copy of this plus 1 of your Ritual Beast monsters. Typically going to be an Apelio, and you'll just go ahead and do this, send a set card back, and then use this effect to spin back a face-up card. Anyways, I hope you guys have found this deck profile enjoyable with the high rarity stuff as well as some really pretty cards. It's one of my favorite decks for sure, simply based on the artwork and how it interacts with each other. Of course, Yawning Simba, who can't love it? And if you want to help me out, maybe consider subscribing. 10,000 subscribers, we'll update a release for custom dice for the channel as well as a custom playmat. It's currently in the works, and for planning, I don't expect us to hit 10,000 subscribers until maybe next year, which is perfectly fine. I just gives me more time to plan, more time to think about what I want to include on the 10,000 subscriber playmat. See you guys later in a future upload.